Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Welcome to the post-cabinet brief for Friday, 4th of August, 2017. This afternoon, the brief will be done by the Minister of State, the Honorable Joseph Harmon. Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Mr. Archer. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. The post-cabinet press briefing will deal with matters which were dealt with at Cabinet on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2017. Our meeting was held on Wednesday since, Tuesday, the 1st, was a national holiday. The Honorable Minister of Finance at that meeting presented the 2017 mid-year report to Cabinet in keeping with the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act, number 2003. The report by the Minister provided information by way of selected indicators such as the GDP growth, the fiscal balance, the exchange rates, and private sector credit. It also provided information on the performance of key sectors of the economy and revised economic outlook for the second half of 2017. Cabinet approved the report and directed that it be laid in the National Assembly as is required by law. His Excellency President David Granger informed the Cabinet that he had accepted an invitation from the National Two-House Council of Guyana to attend its 2017 annual conference. The conference will be held at the Cyril Potter College of Education from August 21st to the 26th, under the theme, Good Governance, a Brighter Future for Guyana's First Peoples. Honorable Ministers of the Cabinet were also invited to selected portions of the conference. The Minister of Finance provided an extended cabinet that included the ministers within the ministries and also the permanent secretaries of the ministries with a report of spending under the Public Sector Investment Program, PSIP, for the first half of 2017. The PSIP, with an allocation of $56.75 billion for 2017, is the main mechanism for government's capital spending. The report indicated that capital spending had been very slow in the initial months of 2017, but it improved significantly towards the end of the first half of the year. Cabinet was informed about the issues that hindered the implementation of projects under the PSIP and discussed ways and means of assisting the budget agencies to improve their performance in relation to capital spendings. Cabinet also indicated its intention to continue to closely monitor the implementation of the PSIP. Permanent secretaries who were there expressed appreciation for Cabinet's intervention and assured Cabinet that the bulk of the PSIP spending and projects for the year 2017 will be implemented. Cabinet approved the appointment of a new board of directors for the Linden Enterprise Network, LEN. The new board comprised Mr. Horace James, Mr. Orrin Gordon, Ms. Elizabeth Passad, a representative of the Regional Democratic Council Region Number 10, and a representative of the Linden Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Development. Cabinet granted its approval for the commencement of the process to implement the agreement between the Republic of Colombia and Guyana for the mutual exemption of visas for holders of ordinary passports of citizens of both countries. It will be recalled that the agreement was signed on June 21st, 2017 in Cancun, Mexico, in the margins of the 47th General Assembly of the Organization of American States. Cabinet approval will enable the relevant government agencies to commence the necessary internal legal procedures for entry into force of the agreement. Guyana will participate in a steering group meeting and the 9th meeting of the Council of Ministers of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF, to be held in Miami, United States of America, from September 4th to the 5th. The meeting will adopt the operational work plan and budget for 2018 and approve important aspects of the CFATF's operation and management. The Honorable Basil Williams, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, will attend the meeting. Representatives from Guyana will attend a training program to be hosted by the Laboratory Services Division of the Grenada Bureau of Standards from August 28 to September 2nd, 2017. The training to be provided will relate to methods, verification, and uncertainty in measurement. These two issues are among the most challenging aspects of laboratory testing, and the training will enable the Guyana Bureau of Standards to attain its ISO 17025 accreditation in 2017. Mrs. Monifa Bourne, Analytical Science Officer, and Mrs. Makuna, Analytical Technical Assistant, both of the Bureau of Standards, will attend the training program. Cabinet noted the award of contracts as follows: for the construction of a special needs school at Sconard on the west bank of Demerara, Region Number 3, the Ministry of the Communities, in the sum of $27,974,000, a contract awarded to S&K Construction Services. A survey had been carried out or conducted across Region 3, and it was discovered that there were many children with disabilities across the region who were in need of special skills training. It was therefore decided that the construction of a school to cater to such training was essential, and that is what the result of this contract. Secondly, for the provision of consultancy services for the reconstruction of St. Rose's High School, Ministry of Education, a contract in the sum of $134,790 United States dollars, awarded to Bino Rowe Wilshire Partnership. And for the rehabilitation of Bidford House, the Ministry of the Presidency, a contract in the sum of $24,276,000, awarded to Vision General Construction Services. For the construction of a female dormitory at the Bina Hill Institute, Anai, Region Number 9, the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, contract in the sum of $36,108,000, awarded to BK International Inc. Now, the point to note here is that there are approximately 100 students at the Bina Hill Institute, with almost equal amount of male and females. These students are housed in accommodation that are in need of improvement, and as such, the construction of a new female dormitory is the first of 2 dormitories that will be constructed with all the facilities to provide adequate, comfortable accommodation for the students. Another contract for the installation of an elevator at the new Linden Hospital building, Region Number 10, Ministry of Public Health, contract in the sum of $18,296,000 awarded to KP Thomas and Sons Contracting. For infrastructural development at Zeeburg, the William West Coast Demerara, Region Number 3, for the upgrading of roads and installation of water distribution mains, a contract in the sum of $110,069,000 awarded to Kemraj North Contracting Services. For the rehabilitation of hinterland roads, Region Number 8, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Lot Number 1, the Brian Sucre Junction to Madhya, a contract in the sum of $47,067,000 awarded to JR Ranch Inc. Lot Number 2, from Eagle Mountain Foot to Conwarook Junction, for the sum of $72,490,000, contract awarded to MMC Inc. For the rehabilitation of pontoon structures at Trafalgar, West Coast, Berbice, Region Number 5, by the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, a contract in the sum of $19,434,000 awarded to SRT Mining and Contracting Services. For the drilling of potable wells in Region Number 3, Guyana Water Inc., Lot 1, Purjoin, West Bank, Demerara, for the sum of $97,138,000, a contract awarded to Water and Oil Wells Services Company Limited. Lot Number 2, Virgin East Bank, Essequibo, contract in the sum of $108,641,000, awarded to S. Jagmohan Hardware Supplies and Contracting Services. Lot Number 3, Westminster, West Bank, Demerara, for the sum of $103,299,000, contract awarded to Water and Oil Well Services Company Limited. For the provision of consultancy services for the design of a new sanitary landfill facility at Bartica, Region Number 7, a contract in the sum of $49,403,000 awarded to SEMCO. For the provision of consultancy services for the design of a new sanitary landfill facility at Madhya, Region Number 8, a contract in the sum of $29,637,000 awarded also to SEMCO. For the provision of consultancy services for the design of a new sanitary landfill facility at Linden, Region Number 10, contract in the sum of $48,164,000 awarded to SEMCO. For the design, supply, and installation of a 400 kilowatt solar farm at Mabaruma, Region Number 1, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, a contract in the sum of $227,706,000 awarded to MECO Group. For the design, supply, and installation of solar photovoltaic grid-tie systems under the Sustainable Energy Program for Guyana, this is a pilot project, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, for the sum of $65,859,000, a contract awarded to Farfan and Mendes Limited. Now, this is a pilot project to provide on-grid systems for solar photovoltaic systems of 7 government buildings to provide the use of renewable energy technologies and to demonstrate their viability to deliver electricity in a suitable and viable manner. The 7 buildings are the University of Guyana, the Government Technical Institute, Queen's College, St. Joseph's High School, Bishop's High School, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and the Ministry of Agriculture. For the procurement of one multi-purpose fire rescue boat for the Guyana Fire Service, Ministry of Public Security, a contract in the sum of $1,430,000 United States dollars awarded to Angloco Limited. It should be noted that the last fireboat that we had here in Guyana, the Forbes B, was put out of service in 1978 after the destruction by fire of the Guyana Rice Board wharf that was suspected to be an act of arson. Since then, there have been several unsuccessful attempts to acquire a new vessel. It should be noted that the port of Georgetown, for 10 miles inland from the mouth of the Demerara River, is the center of commercial activities, including the storage of petroleum products and the import and export of food and industrial supplies, all of which are vulnerable to the ravages of fire. The acquisition of this vessel will therefore fulfill a pressing need. The vessel being acquired is also designed to support shore-based firefighting by the delivery of large volume of water for considerable distances inland. The vessel is also designed to carry out search and rescue missions and marine medical evacuation in our rivers and along the coastline. The other contracts were for the procurement of new and reconditioned vehicles, motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, flashlights with sirens and bicycles for the Guyana Police Force and Customs Anti-Narcotic Unit of the Ministry of Public Security. These selected items were, the contracts were awarded as follows: Bihari Automotive Limited, a contract for $13,160,000 for automobile power products, a contract in the sum of $1,627,000. To Massey Industries Guyana Limited, a contract for $10,773,000. For Car Clean Enterprise, a contract in the sum of $131,271,000. And for Marks and Company Limited, a contract for $32,823,000. Total being a contract sum of $189,663,000. For the supply of 4 reconditioned minibuses for the indigenous communities, the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, contract in the sum of $20 million awarded to Rose Ramsey Hall Auto Sales. For the printing and delivery of readers and workbooks for national distribution at the nursery level, the Ministry of Education, contract in the sum of $5,343,000 awarded to F&H Printing Establishment. And then for the sum of $29,040,000, a contract awarded to ENATH Printing. For the procurement of microscience kits for national distribution by the Ministry of Education, a contract in the sum of $146,440 United States dollars awarded to Somerset Educational Limited, South Africa. For the supply and installation of LED lamps and occupancy sensors at government buildings, the Guyana Energy Authority, the contract in the sum of $6,583,000 awarded to Cummins Electrical Company Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Those are the matters that were dealt with at the Cabinet at its meeting of Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017. I take your questions now.
Sir, if I could take you back to the issue in relation to the PSIP, you said that you said two things. There were some issues which hindered the full implementation of the PSIP. Could you expound what some of those issues were? And secondly, what were some of the ways or solutions which were discussed so as to help agencies improve in this spending?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Many of the issues we had identified in the first quarter had to do with, in some cases, unfamiliarity with the procurement system by some of the permanent secretaries in the ministries. Additionally, what they had to do is to come to grips with the fact that VAT was actually now charged on some of government services, and therefore when the initial contracts were awarded, it did not include that, so that amounted for some amount of delay. But by and large, I think it was the fact that you were having to get through a system, a procurement system, which was actually checking and double checking and triple checking to ensure that they didn't make mistakes. As you're aware, in previous years, there's a lot written about the way contracts were awarded and how they were awarded, and a lot of criticisms about that. And so the procurement entities have been very careful now in checking these things, and that amounted to some amount of slowing up. But I believe now that things are much better. Additionally, some of the ways we looked at was that in the ministries, there was a recommendation that we employ project management officers who will be attached to each of these ministries. And I believe that is having an effect already, because some of the ministries already have these officers in there, and others that don't have the Ministry of Finance is now looking at assisting them to have officers in their ministries to be able to help push the paperwork in those ministries. So that we believe is going to help significantly. We also believe that a better streamlining of the procurement process from the time that the contract is awarded up to the time that the mobilization is given to the contractor and he starts work. What we're trying to do is to narrow that gap so that things can happen at a faster pace.
So Fraser Stabbert News. Good morning, Mr. Harmon. Two questions. Earlier you had spoken about consultancy services for the reconstruction of the St. Rose's High School. Could you say if government is looking at removing the school from that location? And secondly, Sevon Waste Management as well as Puran Brothers have indicated that they plan to cease their services from Sunday, given that they're owed over $300 million. Could you say whether or not they have been informed about this, and whether government intends to intervene, since we all know that the Mayor and City Council don't have that amount of money to offset this debt?
I've got two very good questions. One has to do with the St. Rose's School. The proposal is to rebuild the school at the same position, in the same place. That's one. Now, insofar as the operators of these the waste management companies, I know that's a very pressing matter for all of us, because we don't want to see garbage piling up in the city. But clearly, under the Ministry of the Communities, they have the resources and the capacity to deal with this issue. And I prefer that the Ministry of the Communities and the City Council, the Town Council, that they try to address that situation. It is something which is, of course, is of concern to us, and we would not want to see a pileup of garbage in the city. So as I said, I believe the Ministry of Communities, they are engaged, and I would wish to have them do what they have to do there.
Just to follow up, I understand what you're saying, but isn't government at all concerned at the fact that this situation occurred 2 weeks ago? I mean, how long is government willing to just sit and allow this situation to continue?
Well, it's not a matter of just sitting. As you know, the question of payment to these the waste management companies always seemed to be an issue with the city councils. And it's been going and coming. Eventually, sometimes they arrive at a solution that's mutually beneficial and they resume. So, as I'm saying, while we are concerned about it, it is not a situation which will require us getting into the situation right now, because I believe that we are still benefiting from the service and removal of waste in the city. And I would wish that the city and the Ministry of Communities be given an opportunity to resolve that situation. The question here is about payment for past services. And I think that there is always a mechanism in negotiating those payment arrangements.
Yes, as it relates to the half-year report, can you state for us what was the GDP expound what was the private sector's contribution? You spoke about a revised rating for the second half. Can you expound on that as well?
Okay, I'll give you broad figures because I believe that the Minister of Finance will expound at length on these matters, but I'll give you broad figures. As I said, these were selected indicators and they were not all of them. As of June 2016, the GDP growth was 2.0. As of June 2017, it was 2.2. The fiscal balance as of June 2016 was 8.782.7, and in June 2017 it was 3.215.4. The exchange rate, that is the US dollar exchange rate, was at June 2016 206.5, and at June 2017 206.5. The private sector credit was listed at 13,135.2 in June 2016, and in June 2017 216,906.8. The small savings rate as a percentage in 2016, June 2016 was 1.26%, and in June 2017, 1.18%. So those are the selected indicators. As I said, the Minister of Finance will be able to elaborate much more on those selected figures that I've given to you. Yes.
Gomes Cornelius, News Update. Minister Harmon, many in the broadcasting business, broadcasting entities, have been complaining about the clauses in the Broadcasting Amendment Bill. Now, can you decipher whether government will be meeting with any of these entities to discuss ways and means to possibly alter the bill to accommodate certain, information they may need? And second, former Attorney General Anil Nandlal claimed that the bill infringes on the freedom of the press. What is your response to this?
Well, the broadcast bill is now currently being debated in the National Assembly. It started last night and will continue today. And I will encourage you to go there because there's a lot to be said. In fact, I'll be speaking this afternoon, and I'll be dealing specifically with some of these issues and some issues that affect the Guyanese people about the way the spectrum was hijacked. I will deal with those matters in Parliament this afternoon. So what Mr. Nandalal is saying, he is also going to be speaking. So he's basically telegraphing what he's going to say in Parliament. I think the point to be noted here is that the matters which he put out into the media, some of the opposition speakers are now using the newspapers in which it was printed as the source for them making certain statements in the National Assembly. But we will deal with that this afternoon. And I can promise you that we will be able to give you a clear and unambiguous position of the government in relation to this bill.
Yanis Abrams from MTV. On the same issue on MMC, last year assumed the matter of MMC owing GPL money. And it was brought up to you. And can you say, since the amount has risen to over $1 billion, would the government still not assist them? And secondly, on the issue of squatters, can you tell me, related to the Ministry of Communities, when would they start? Because it was said that they will start in collaboration with the MMC.
When you say MMC, you mean the City
Sorry,
Council?
City Council, sir.
The City Council, I thought you meant MMC is a security company. Okay. Yes. The question of, as I said, the payment, slow payment, has always been an issue with the City Council. We acknowledge that. But as I said to you, that over time, the City Council have been able to find ways and means of dealing with their obligations in that regard. Where they are unable to do so, the Ministry of the Communities had actually stepped in and given assistance. And I believe that mechanism is one which we will continue to use. The city has to find ways and means of dealing with its obligation. It is a statutory independent body. They were elected, and therefore, if they find that they are unable to garner the resources to meet their obligations, that is when they will come to the ministry and ask for help. So I'm not sure exactly whether they've actually asked for help at the Ministry of the Communities as yet. But what I'm saying to you is that as a government, because this is the capital city and we're so concerned about the health of the nation, we're so concerned about the environment, that we would want to see that the matter is dealt with as quickly as possible. Your next question had to do with squatters. Well, that's not a matter actually that came up at Cabinet. And I believe the Minister of, within the Ministry of Communities, Minister Valerie Patterson, has made a statement on that. The ministry, I believe, at a conference last week with the Minister of Communities, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, and the minister within the Ministry of Communities address these matters, and I prefer to stick by the statements that they made on that. There's nothing more that I can say that Cabinet had actually considered.
Can you say if the contractor who was responsible for the K2 school fiasco has begun remedial work, and can you confirm that the project will come in for the September school term? That's one. And has the government been taking note of the spate of blackouts that we've been having for the last week? Because I haven't seen a statement from GPL since.
You mean the contractor? The contractor is Carey's, but the school is K2. Yes. Well, I think there was you might have seen in the news there last week that the school is complete. The minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure and a team from the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, as well as the Ministry of Education, had gone there to the school and inspected it. They declared that it was ready for occupation. I think they were in the process of moving furniture into it. And I believe that for September opening, that school will be ready for utilization. With respect to blackouts at GPL, I don't have a particular statement on the matter. It didn't come up at Cabinet, but I have read, just like you, in the public media that Mr. Badal, who's the chairman of GPL, had made some statements that they were taking certain steps to make the electricity supply much more reliable.
Associate for Starbuck News. Two questions. Could you say when the President intends to meet with the opposition leader to discuss the appointments of a substantive Chancellor and Chief Justice? And secondly, the Ministry of Presidency announced that it will be holding a commemorative service to mark the death anniversary of former President Mr. Burnham. Could you say if this will occur for all former presidents who are deceased?
Yeah, that's a good question. The former presidents, irrespective of which party they came from, served the state. And their death anniversaries are state activities. And it is the intention of the administration to elevate all of these observances to the level of state functions. And so we can expect that this is going to be the one for former President Burnham has been elevated to the level of a state function, and all the other former presidents who passed, those will be state functions as well. So it's no longer left to a particular party, and depending on the resources of the party, the observances of the death anniversary of these persons who serve and serve Guyana well, that we will leave it like that. So the state is taking on this responsibility, and this is how it will be in the future. Chancellor and Chief Justice, these are matters which are on the front burner. You would have seen His Excellency the President at Wismar a few days ago, opening the magistrate court up there, the magisterial district. In that new magisterial district, he was also the week before at the opening of the expansion of the High Court here in Georgetown, and he's made several statements at the swearing-in of judges of the Court of Appeal and of the High Court. And so what we want to say is that it is important for us to have a very functional judiciary, and that this government will take all the necessary steps to ensure that the judiciary is well resourced, that it has the complement of judges that is needed, and that the appointment of senior officers within the judiciary, that it will be given the attention that it deserves at the level of the president. Well, the consultations, as you know, are consultations between the leader of the opposition and the president, and those are matters which are dealt with by the two officers. They will determine what is a time that is convenient to themselves for them to consult.
This is a question with three parts. The first part has to do with the argument that was recently put forward by Demtoko, stating that should government move forward with the bill as it is, then its 4 billion revenue in terms of taxes could be in jeopardy. So has government put together a plan as to how it's going to deal with the possible loss in this area, the impact in this area financially? And secondly, there's a possible conflict of interest. Some critics believe that there's a conflict of interest as it relates to Dr. Mangal's involvement as an advisor to the presidency as it relates to oil and gas, but his brother is involved in a project with regard to the construction of an offshore site. Does cabinet, or do you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
Well, firstly, let me say on the Dr. Mangal issue, Dr. Mangal has written, it's in the public domain, he's written a letter to this effect, which basically states that he sees and there's no conflict of interest in the work which he's doing as an advisor to the government on oil and gas. And at this point in time, we do not share that opinion that there is in fact a conflict of interest. With related to Demtoko, this is now a bill which is fully debated in the National Assembly, and once the paperwork is completed, it will be submitted to His Excellency the President to be made law. Now, these statements by interested groups coming after the National Assembly will have had a full debate on the matter, I think basically it's a little bit too late for what they want to get done. We will not sacrifice the health of this nation, even for $4 billion. Even if it meant $4 billion or $5 billion. The health of this nation is invaluable. There's no price that we can put to the lives of the citizens of this country. And I believe in the National Assembly, It was a very, very, very strong debate and a strong debating point that was taken by almost the members on both sides of the House, that we could not sacrifice the health of our country for on the altar of expediency with respect to this bill. And so the National Assembly did what it had to do, full debate, it was passed in the National Assembly, and now it is going to be made law. Whether in fact there is a point to be made, I believe this must be now a matter of consultation with the Ministry of Finance when they're looking at the budget and so on, to see whether in fact any accommodation can be made. But as far as taking this law, I see somebody in the newspaper saying now the bill should go to select committee. We've passed that stage. We've passed that stage. It will soon be law, and therefore we have to pay attention to these things. So ladies and gentlemen of the media, I thank you very much, and do have a pleasant weekend. Thank you.